The 4:47 a.m. alarm never actually woke Zara Malik. She was already up, sitting cross-legged on her apartment floor in downtown Chicago, wearing an oversized gray hoodie with a small paint stain near the pocket and black joggers that had seen better days. Her braids were pulled into a messy bun held by 2 pencils. The walls around her were bare except for one sticky note that read, "Don't quit. Not yet." She had a 6-year-old daughter named Noor who slept in the next room under a blanket covered in tiny golden stars. Zara's aunt would pick Noor up before school. That was the plan. Plans were the only thing holding Zara together since the hospital bills turned their lives into a math problem with no solution. $93,000. That was the number that lived in her chest. She dressed fast, switched out the hoodie for a slim-fit black turtleneck tucked into wide-leg charcoal trousers, and pulled on clean white sneakers. She left a sticky note on Noor's breakfast plate. It said, "You are the plot twist, baby girl. Love you to the moon and past it." She drew a tiny rocket ship at the bottom. Their thing. The train to the Meridian District took 38 minutes. Zara spent all of it staring at the floor and breathing slow. Voss Industries. 42 floors of steel and floor-to-ceiling glass sitting like it owned the entire Chicago skyline. Because it kind of did. Zara had been hired as a building services coordinator. Entry level. Not glamorous. But it paid almost double the bakery counter job she had worked for 4 years, and sometimes double is the difference between surviving and sinking. Her supervisor, a sharp-eyed woman named Rosa Campos, handed her a slate-gray staff polo, a laminated floor map, and one rule delivered like a commandment: nothing spills. Nothing breaks. Nothing is late. Zara nodded like she had never spilled anything in her entire life. By 7:15 a.m. she had restocked 3 conference rooms, delivered a breakfast setup to the 8th floor, and was carrying a tray of sparkling water and pressed juices through the corridor of the executive level with the focus of someone defusing something dangerous. She almost made it. A door at the far end swung open hard and fast, and a man walked out of it like the hallway had personally invited him and cleared all traffic in advance. The tray tilted. The juice glasses did what juice glasses do. A full glass of cold orange juice hit the front of what was, objectively, the most expensive-looking navy blazer Zara had ever seen in real life. The man wore a fitted white dress shirt underneath it, dark tailored trousers, and leather shoes that probably had their own Wikipedia page. His sleeves were rolled to the elbow. He looked like he had walked off a mood board. He went completely still. Zara's brain caught up half a second later. Oh my God. She grabbed the small towel she kept tucked in her back pocket out of habit from 4 years of bakery spillage. Okay. Cotton blend, right? Cold water, press don't drag, it will not stain if we move now. She was already pressing the towel to the blazer lapel before she registered what she was doing. She stopped. Pulled her hands back. I'm so sorry. That was a reflex. I worked in food service for 4 years and my brain just kind of goes on autopilot when liquid hits fabric. The man looked at her. Not with anger. With something slower and more unsettling. He had dark eyes, the kind that felt like they were taking notes. His jaw was sharp. His expression gave away absolutely nothing. He was maybe 30, maybe 32, and he looked like someone who had stopped being surprised by things a long time ago. You know how to treat fabric stains, he said. It was not a question. My mom tailored clothes for 15 years out of our living room. I can identify thread count by touch. It is genuinely not a useful party trick. One corner of his mouth moved. Not a smile. Something close to the idea of one. What's your name? Zara Malik. I started today. And I completely understand if today is also my last day. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he straightened the ruined lapel with a single calm motion. Come to the 42nd floor at 9. Tell the front desk you're looking for Marcus Webb. He'll bring you to me. He walked away before she could respond. Zara stood in the corridor holding a juice-soaked towel, watching the back of the most expensive blazer she had ever destroyed disappear around a corner. It took her 40 full seconds to realize she had just soaked Callum Voss. The Callum Voss. The man whose name was literally on the building. She had worked there for exactly 1 hour and 53 minutes. Rosa found out in 15 minutes. Rosa always found out. She pulled Zara into the stairwell between floors 6 and 7 with the energy of someone who had been personally wronged by the universe. You spilled juice on Callum Voss. It was more of a poor situation, technically. Zara. I know. But he told me to come to his office at 9. So maybe it's fine. Rosa stared at her with the expression of someone who had stopped believing things were fine roughly 17 years ago. At 8:57, Zara rode the executive elevator to 42. She had changed the polo for a fresh one from the supply room and redone her braids into a low, clean twist. She looked put together. She felt like a browser with 47 tabs open. Marcus Webb was a tall guy with reading glasses pushed up on his forehead and the calm energy of someone who had seen everything twice. He led her through a hallway lined with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city in every direction. Chicago spread out below like something that had been designed to make you feel temporary. Callum Voss was standing at the window when she walked in, hands in his pockets, still wearing the stained blazer like it meant nothing. The office was mostly glass and pale wood. One wall was entirely windows. The desk was clean except for a single slim folder. Sit down, he said, not turning around. She sat. She kept her hands flat on her knees and kept her face neutral. He turned. He sat across from her and opened the folder without ceremony. He read from it like it was a brief and she was a case. Single parent. 6-year-old daughter. $93,000 in outstanding medical debt. 4 years at a bakery counter in Pilsen. Associate degree in operations management completed at night school. Applied to 11 companies in 5 months. He closed the folder. You need this job, he said. I do, she said, straight-faced. Then I'm going to offer you something else. Zara blinked. I'm sorry. He leaned back. My last personal operations coordinator quit 3 weeks ago. The role involves managing my schedule, liaising with building department heads, and handling logistics for off-site events. It pays 4 times your current rate, includes full benefits, and comes with performance bonuses. Zara looked at him. Why? Because the last 3 people in that role were professionally polished and completely useless under pressure. You spilled a full glass of juice on me and your first instinct was to problem solve. That's the thing I actually need. She studied his face. He was not joking. He was not being sarcastic. He was doing the thing where you say something completely life-altering in the same tone you'd use to discuss the weather. You don't know anything about me, she said. I know enough. That's a very calm answer for someone making a very large decision. I make large decisions for a living. She looked at the folder. At her whole complicated, exhausting life reduced to bullet points. The debt. The night school. The 11 rejections. If I say yes, she said slowly, and I'm bad at it, what happens? Then you go back to your original role. And if I say yes and I'm good at it? Something shifted in his expression. Not much. Just enough. Then we figure out what comes next. Zara exhaled through her nose. Okay, she said. Yes. Callum nodded like that was always going to be the answer. He picked up his phone and began typing. Zara walked back to the elevator feeling like the floor had shifted 3 inches to the left. She had no idea yet that the offer was not entirely about her work ethic. She had no idea that Callum Voss had specifically requested her file before she even walked in. She had no idea that someone in that building already wanted her gone. 3 weeks in and Zara had the rhythm down. She was at Voss Industries by 6:30 every morning wearing her new work uniform, tailored straight-leg trousers in black or deep green, fitted button-downs, clean white Nikes that she refused to swap for heels. She kept her braids pulled back during the day and let them loose on the elevator ride home. She carried a worn leather tote that Noor had decorated with star stickers that Zara never removed. Callum noticed the stickers on day 2. Said nothing. But he stopped placing her bag on the floor and started leaving space for it on the table. Small things. She noticed them. He was difficult in the way that people who have been alone too long become difficult. Not cruel. Just sealed. He communicated in short sentences and long silences. He expected things done before he asked. He had a coffee order that was aggressively specific and a schedule that ran like a closed system. But there were cracks. Sometimes at the end of a long day she would find him standing at the window again, not working, just standing there the way people do when the thing they're thinking about is too big to sit with. And once, when she mentioned offhand that Noor had lost her first tooth, he was quiet for a second and then asked, without looking up from his laptop, "Is she okay about it? The losing part?" Zara had looked at him. She cried for 12 minutes and then decided she was now a vampire. "She's fine." And he had almost smiled. "For real that time." "That tracks," he said. That was the week Zara started noticing things she did not want to notice. Like the way he moved through a room. Like the way he remembered every small thing she mentioned and never made a performance of remembering it. Like the fact that he had, without discussion, anonymously flagged her daughter's school for a facilities upgrade grant. Zara only found out because the school principal mentioned a generous corporate donor, and Zara put it together herself. She confronted him in his office that afternoon. "Did you fund Noor's school?" He was writing something. He did not stop writing. The school qualified for community reinvestment criteria. "Callum." He put his pen down. "It was the right call logistically," he said. "That is not an answer." He looked at her. "No. It's not." The silence between them changed shape. Then her phone buzzed. A message from a number she did not recognize. She opened it. One line. "He's not doing this for you. Ask him who Sofia Reyes is." Zara looked up. Callum was watching her face. "You okay?" he asked. She pocketed her phone. "Yeah," she said. "Fine." She was not fine. Sofia Reyes, it turned out, was not hard to find. She was Callum's ex. Not a casual ex. An engaged-to-be-married ex who had walked out of the engagement 8 months ago under circumstances the internet described as a mutual decision, and that everyone who actually knew them described as something else entirely. But that was not the thing that made Zara's hands go cold. The thing that made her hands go cold was the internal email chain she found 3 days later, not snooping, but pulling a misfiled document from Callum's shared drive and finding a thread she was never supposed to see. The thread was between Callum and the head of HR from 4 weeks before Zara was hired. It read, in part, "Pull the file on the new building services coordinator. Malik, Zara. I want to review it before the Thursday call." He had asked for her file before they ever met. Before the spill. Before the hallway. Before all of it. She sat with that for 2 days. Turned it over. Tried to find the version of it that made sense and wasn't a setup. She couldn't. She went to his office on a Thursday evening when the floor was empty. She was wearing her day clothes still, black trousers and a dark green button-down, braids down around her shoulders. He was at his desk, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, reading something on his tablet. Why did you pull my file before you met me? She said from the doorway. He went very still. Zara. Don't. Just answer me. Before the hallway. Before the juice. Before any of it. You already had my file. Why? He set the tablet down. He did not deny it. I was doing a review of new hires in high turnover departments. It was routine. Was it? Yes. Then why do I feel like the whole thing was staged? Like maybe someone arranged for me to be on that floor at that time. Like maybe this entire job was a setup from the beginning. He stood up. It wasn't a setup. Then what was it? Silence. Callum. What was it? He exhaled. I saw your application before it went to Rosa. Your essay. You wrote about your daughter and your mother's debt and the night school and why you needed something to change. And I wanted to know if the person who wrote that was as real as they sounded. Zara stared at him. So you manufactured a scenario? No. Rosa assigned you to that floor. That was real. The rest of it was just. Just what? I was curious about you. Before you became someone He stopped. The room was very quiet. Before I became someone you what? She said, her voice low. He looked at her with those dark, note-taking eyes. You should go home, he said. Think about whether you still want this job. And I'll think about how to be more honest than I have been. Zara picked up her bag. The star stickers caught the light. She walked out without looking back. At the elevator she stopped. Pressed the button. Waited. Then she turned back around and walked straight into his office. I'm not quitting, she said. But I need you to be honest with me about everything. About Sophia. About why you actually pulled my file. About what you meant just now. All of it. He looked at her for a long time. Okay, he said quietly. Sit down. He told her everything. Sophia had been the kind of person who made Callum feel like warmth was something he had to earn. When she left, she told him he was too closed off to love properly, and he had believed her because believing it was easier than fighting it. He had been running on empty ever since. Work. Structure. Control. A clean desk and a full calendar and no room for anything that could walk out. Then he saw Zara's application. Not the resume. The essay. She had written one line that he still had memorized, I am not asking for easy. I am asking for fair. And something in him had cracked open just a little. That's not an excuse, he said. I should have told you. And I'm sorry I didn't. Zara sat across from him in the near dark of the empty office, the city glowing gold and blue below them. Her braids were loose. Her hands were folded in her lap. Her eyes were tired in the way eyes get when they've been doing everything for too long. I need to tell you something too, she said. He waited. I paid off $12,000 of my mom's debt last month with the bonus from the Eastfield event. The first time in 3 years I paid more than the minimum. She paused. I cried in the parking lot of a pharmacy at 9 p.m. Nor was in the back seat. She didn't know why I was crying, but she held my hand the whole time. Callum was quiet. That's why I can't play games, Zara said. I don't have the margin for it. Every choice I make has weight. So if this is something, if you and me is something, I need to know it's real. Not a project. Not curiosity. Real. It's real, he said. No pause. No qualifier. She looked at him. I also, he said, slower, want to tell you that I contacted a debt restructuring firm 2 weeks ago on your behalf. I didn't submit anything. I stopped myself because I knew it wasn't my call to make. But I have the documentation if you ever want it. Zara blinked. You just had that sitting there, waiting for you to trust me enough to let me help." She laughed. It was a real laugh, surprised out of her. It filled the quiet room like something the office had never heard before. "You are the most complicated person I have ever met in my life," she said. "I know," he said. "I'm working on it." She stood up, walked to the window where he always stood, looked out at Chicago doing its enormous, indifferent thing below them. He came and stood beside her. Not touching. Just there. "Nor asked me this morning if I liked my job," Zara said. "What did you tell her?" "I told her I liked one person at my job." She immediately asked if I was going to marry him. The silence stretched warm between them. "She's 6, Callum said." "She is extremely perceptive," Zara said. He looked at her sideways. She looked back. Outside, Chicago kept moving. Lights and glass and the long hum of a city that did not slow down for anyone. But in that room, for a minute, everything was still. And for the first time in longer than she could name, Zara Malik did not feel like she was carrying everything alone. The end.